you're new to this, you're probably wondering, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness basically just means being in the present moment and being aware that you're in the present moment. You're not thinking about the future, you're not looking on the past, those kind of things. Um, so today, it's kind of here in the Kansas City area, it's kind of cloudy, kind of cool. So this morning, probably like a lot of people, probably cooking more, baking, that kind of stuff. I made a 15 bean soup. It's one of my favorite things. And so I was just making the soup today, and I started thinking about how to obtain some mindfulness. And some of you have heard me say this before, but if you're cooking, chopping up vegetables and things like that, try and just do that. Mindfulness is not just the meditation that we're doing here for 20 minutes. It's a lifestyle. So, try and do that whenever you get the opportunity. So if you're chopping up vegetables, chop up the vegetables. Try not to be watching the news. We're getting enough of that as it is. So just use, that time to just be with yourself. Don't be checking Facebook, those kind of things. So, as the pot of beans was boiling, I started thinking of the saying, a watch pot never boils. And that saying basically means that getting anxious or anticipating the future is not going to speed it up at all. It's going to happen in the 8 minutes or whatever it takes for a pot of beans to boil. But it occurred to me today that it's also a nice metaphor about watching our thoughts from boiling over. So we have beans or rice or pasta or whatever, and they're in the pan. When we're watching the pan or the pot, before it starts to boil over, before our thoughts, before our anxiety or anger starts to boil over, we can turn down the heat. And that's essentially what meditation really is. We're observing these thoughts, but when we sit with them, when we monitor them, it keeps them from boiling over. So just something I just wanted to pass on to you. Let me mute a few more people here that joined in. What do you say we get ready to meditate? So find a nice place where you'd like to sit or lie down. You could even stand if you would like. You just want to be as comfortable as you can be, whatever that might be, sitting in a nice chair, sitting on the floor, whatever. And before we get too situated, just kind of start to settle in, rotating the shoulders maybe a little bit, the neck. Just get kind of comfy. Then we'll slowly pause any movement we might be doing. And if you're new to mindfulness meditation, we typically focus our awareness on our breath. But for some, that might be challenging. So feel free to look at an object or anything in the room, or just focus on something. I wouldn't focus on a cat that's walking around, because your mind will kind of wander around with the cat. But you could just notice your surroundings, just anything to keep you in this space. So now that we're kind of settled in, let's take 3 exaggerated inhales with 3 exaggerated exhales. So a nice big inhale in. Exhale with a sigh. No one can hear you. Nice big inhale in. Exhale with a sigh. Nice big inhale in. Exhale with a sigh. And feel free to close down your eyes if that's comfortable. Once again, if that's not quite where you want to be tonight, just focus on something in the room, partial gaze. Before we embark on this journey, let's just ask ourselves, where am I right now? I'm maybe in my living room, my study, maybe a bathroom, any little private space you might have in your house. Maybe you're at work. Just notice the safe space you've carved out for yourself for the next several moments. And if your mind starts to wander, just see if you can say, hey, I'm not at whatever. Where am I? I'm here in my safe space. So if our eyes are closed, see if we can focus our awareness on our breath. It's not a forced breath. It's nothing like we just did here a few moments ago. It's just our natural breathing rhythm. We almost take it for granted that we're breathing. Sometimes we kind of just forget. So, this is just a way to just kind of focus our awareness on that. It's a nice anchor to this present moment. Or if you're noticing an object across from you, or maybe a sound, see if you can focus your awareness on that. If you're new to this, or maybe we might need a reminder, you will have thoughts. We always have thoughts. It's just what we do with those thoughts. We try not to do anything with them. We just notice, oh, here's that thought that I'm having about whatever. We acknowledge it. We treat it with grace and kindness. Try not to criticize the thoughts. Try not to judge. I'm this or I'm that. They're just thoughts. The longer we sit with the thoughts, perhaps they'll subside a little bit. They won't boil over, but they might. And if they do, that's okay. Just because we have a pot of water or beans, rice, whatever boil over doesn't mean that we stop cooking. We just keep working at it and we just keep trying to be aware of what's going on in the stove. I'm not going to talk as much tonight as I have in the past because several of us have been doing this for a couple months now. I know we do have some newer people in here, but I want to see if we can just sit and notice. If you need a little more grounding, maybe just place your palms on your legs or maybe a belly or something if you would like. And just notice that sensation of your palms resting on your legs or your belly or any part. Perhaps just notice If you're sitting in a chair, just the contact with the chair, or if you're lying on the floor in the bed, just that tactile experience. Anything to just keep you here in this moment. Generally, about this time is when our body kind of starts to talk to us a little bit. If our legs are crossed, maybe our knees kind of start to talk back to us a little bit, perhaps our low back, shoulders. If it's truly uncomfortable, feel free to gently adjust your sitting or lying down position that you're in. And also see if this is a good opportunity just to notice. Perhaps it's my body telling me I'm not used to you sitting still this long. Let's do something. Thank your body and say, hey, let's see if we can stay here for a little while longer. Where am I right now in this time? What am I doing right now? I'm sitting here, lying here, noticing my breath, noticing an object in front of me, and noticing the thoughts. I'm trying not to do anything with the thoughts. I notice them. Thoughts can be like those snow globes. They're fine if they're sitting on a shelf. We notice. However, if we pick it up and shake it, all the snow goes everywhere. Essentially, that's what's happening with our thoughts if we try to engage in them, talk to them, question them. See if we can just let the snow globe of our mind sit. Perhaps now you're wondering, how much longer am I going to sit here like this? That's okay. Once again, a watch pot never boils. So trying to concentrate on the time is not going to speed it up. Time is time. Whatever thoughts that may be arising, once again, see if we can treat them with kindness, with grace, but perhaps maybe even a little curiosity. A thought might pop up, and you might say, "Well, that's interesting." And then see if you can just let it be. Try not to say, "Wow, I wonder where that came from. I wonder if it means this." And that whole dialogue, just notice it. and the activity of the snow globe settles down, we can see the little townscape or whatever it might be that's in the globe. That is essentially what we're doing with meditation. The noise, snow, settles down. We're able to see inside the globe very clearly. So when we settle down to chatter in our minds, to chatter outside of our minds, we notice what is truly going on. And it may be an unpleasant experience, but we're truly able to notice what is going on without the noise. We'll be here for a few more moments. I will eventually bring us out of this with 3 chimes. Try and treat the 3 chimes as a threshold from our inner awareness experience to noticing our outer surroundings. So try and move gently from one plane to the other. If your eyes are closed, perhaps slowly blink them open. Maybe take a nice gentle sigh and notice. Perhaps the pot is no longer boiling or just simmering right now. Simmering is a good thing. I don't think I've mentioned it before, but in meditation will rise and so forth, you can journal these thoughts, afterwards. Some people like to journal afterward to say, okay, this came up, whatever, like a diary type of thing. So feel free to do that. Once again, we have next Monday, Memorial Day, is for sure on the calendar, and then I will add the June ones. I'll probably get around to add them tomorrow. We have these last few minutes. If anybody has questions, comments, if anybody wants the recipe for 15 bean soup, let me know. And as always, thank you for just taking care of yourself.
Namaste. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.